Hello guys, what's up? This is ScherBR talking. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video we'll be talking about Ultra Deluxe Matriarch banner. Yeah, we have a second version of Matriarch. The first one is a damage dealer and also a buffer, very strong for Piercing Sun. This one is different. It is now also a buffer with some changes in global compared to JP, but can also heal and do very high damage. We'll be talking about her right now. She comes with 2 platinum styles. As you can see, she's the only one that's limited. You can see Ultra DX, meaning only Matriarch. Paulus and Ferdinand just got some status buff, but Matriarch got some redesign that makes her very good now. Well, let's start with Matriarch. So here we are, we have the 2 versions of Matriarch here to compare their status. First one is on top, and the Ultra Deluxe one is here. Well, as you can see, we have more STR with 92%. She has a higher endurance with 62%. A lower dexterity, that's the only status that really matters a little here. In some boss fights like Kazinsi, characters with low dexterity are missing. There will be an upgrade in the future where STR is also added into the accuracy of physical attacks, but right now it doesn't. So I hope that she will keep landing attacks. Maybe you have to increase her hidden status for dexterity to help out a little. Her agility is on 87%, that's pretty high for a spear user, and we also need more agility because of how she was changed. She has lower intelligence, but she does not use intelligence at all, so this is a plus. She has a little more will than endurance, and higher love and similar charisma. When we compare both, well, both have a focus on STR and agility, besides other status. As you can see, this one and the other one also had agility and STR bonus. Now we have to give a look on the passives. The first one in the past style was plus 1 BP on every turn. That was amazing. She would get 4 BP on every turn. The new one now has something else. It also recovers a very small effect for heal. That should be around 120 or something with this version of Matriarch when on level 50. It does not make, well, too much in a boss fight, but it can help depending on if you are poisoned, especially. It will allow you to just survive poison. Song of Hope is the second passive, and this one is amazing. It gives 5% to damage to your whole squad. This is just essentially the same passive as Joe that increases damage for the whole squad, but only when everyone is alive. But also has a second passive that also decreases damage by 5%. Well, at least it says 5 in JP. I don't know if they would change here on global. Remember that Jorg decreases by 20%, and also the same case for Global X, Final Impress. I still don't know if it's the same value, but it's the same passive, so they should not code a passive with the same name for different results. We will have to test this to see if it's really 5%, but it does help in fights when you are using, well, the Tiger's Den formation, you have Guard Up, and you have someone like the Global X, Final Impress aligning with Matriarch. It just decreases damage even further, and if you have a sustained squad, it should help, especially because this one buffs as well. And for the last one, we have Fired Up 5. I wish we had something better, like even Overtension. I don't know, because Overtension will be better when we are using her for damage. When we want to finish a boss, Overtension will help more. But Fired Up 5, it's okay. 20% increasing damage all times. That's 25% if you compare Song of Hope to her. Because of her status are pretty okay, she's above average for damage. She's not essentially a nuker because of her passives and status, but because of the power of her skills. We'll be giving a look on that right now. The first skill is Light Streak Lunge. This one is a single target attack with B power, and it's pretty strong for only costing 4 BP. You can cycle this easily in boss fights if you want this type of damage. She has better usage, so I don't know if you should be using this too much unless the boss is weak to, well, the critical damage. That means it's either a undead or a demon. It's constant damage, good enough. I think it sometimes may be better than just cycling Light Geyser, since it does have 7 BP cost. That is the second skill, that's also a single target attack and using 7 BP. Why do I say that? Because the best attack from this version of Matriarch is Shining Glory, the last one. This skill here, let me show you, it's both Piercing Sun again. She's a Piercing Sun specialist with 8 damage for AoE with only 8 BP cost. There's no single character that can do 8 damage to AoE with only 8 BP in the game so far. There's no character like that. And like this was not already enough, she carries a lot of other utilities with this skill. First of all, let's talk about this. She also uses 2 LP. That's why it's so good. It has something of a sacrifice to make this work. She does damage. It has also critical against Undead and Demon again, because she's still a specialist against those 2 races. And now she has 2 other effects. In JP, she didn't have the buff that is STR, Dexterity, Agility, and Intelligence buff. In JP, this never existed. They buffed this for Global so that she could be more interesting, especially for those that missed her first style. She now can replace totally the first style if you want. At least it will work for some evasion strategies, but she cannot stack this buff too much. She can only use it twice in a boss fight. And it's essentially different than the first one. The first one will buff STR, Endurance, Agility, and Intelligence. They removed the Endurance and increased it for Dexterity. It's better for offensive strategies since people stopped using gunners or bow users or happier users with Matriarch because she does not buff Dexterity. But UDX Matriarch can now buff Dexterity as well, allowing for different setups that uses all types of characters. That is interesting just by itself, and the buff is higher than her past version. It has a large effect. Large effect means 40% on max, but you will have to level up this skill to level 99 to get the max value, because that's what you do when the skill is also damage. And that is without saying the last part of the skill. She also recovers all surviving allies' HP, meaning that her heal is essentially the same as Mirza's and Leon's, but by costing 2 LP. But now it makes up for a trade-off since she also buffs the squad. Leon either does damage plus buff or he heals and do single target. She deals AoE, she heals, she buffs with a low cost. Well, at least the BP cost. So we have to think about all this kit when comparing to Mirza and Leon as well, but she just does not replace them. She's used for something else. When you're using Matriarch, she's being used for buffs. That is, if you are using Paeon of Victory, if you have her first style, it will still be easier to cycle Paeon of Victory. You can inherit this skill here and use with this other, since this one is the best one, has the better status, has the better passives. And if you want to stack up buffs, you keep using Paeon of Victory. And imagine that you need an extra heal and you, well, don't have Mirza, or you don't have Leon, or they don't have enough PP, and you still have some. You can use Shining Glory to recover in your boss fight. It will also allow you to combine her with the Global Axe, Final Impress. Imagine in the same turn that you negate all damage, you also buff, heal to get ready for the next turn. This means that she will be very good for boss fights from now on. So even if you don't have the first Matriarch, you can still use this one by herself. It's just that it's a different strategy. This is more for fast fights where you can win in 5 turns or 6 at most. Why? You just buff yourself 2 times with Shining Glory, dealing damage in the process, and then you kill the boss in the overdrive turn. Usually we get to overdrive in 5 turns, and you use your strongest attacks if you save it BP. And because you are also buffing your whole squad, you do lots of damage and probably kills the boss by there. But if you cannot do that, using Paeon of Victory will allow you to survive better, since you will probably evade attacks. You also have higher endurance by using Paeon of Victory. It's a lower BP cost, you can keep stacking it further. So long fights, Paeon of Victory is a better strategy. But faster fights, you can bring more nuke damage because you are healing. Maybe if you also bring Mirza or Leon together, you have more space to remove heal specialists because they also do damage while healing. And because she's also Sun, you can even use them all together for the max potential against enemies that are with your Sun. And even if you think about using Paeon of Victory, you can also just use Shining Glory when you need a heal. Let's say that you have both. You open by using Paeon of Victory, and when you need to heal, you use Shining Glory. It's even easier because she gets 1 more BP every turn, meaning that essentially this is a 7 BP cost skill. For the damage that she inflicts, for the buff that she gives, this is insanely useful and brings a lot of value. And there's also other thing to say. Shining Glory also offers a lot for farming. It's both Pierce and Sun. That's a very good combination since it hits different types of enemies. Some Undeads are weak to both, but not all of them. Flying enemies are weak to Pierce, but not to Sun. And also there are some Undeads that are only to Sun, but not to Pierce. So you have a wide range to do damage. Because she has very high agility, it means that she will probably attack before most of your other characters, unless you are using fast attackers. And in farming stages where you face multiple bosses, well, there are some types of events that have more than one target. She will go first, and then buff your squad to just do more damage. Meaning that she goes well in there, she also goes well in Conquest, not just that, but also she goes very well in standard farming. For 3 turns, she can use Shining Glory on turn 1 and then on turn 3 as well. Although this skill is amazing, it also brings one problem. If you don't have the first Matriarch with Pay on Victory, let's say that you want to start a fight with buffs. You will lose 2 LP and essentially not heal anyone. Why? She has a very high agility, that becomes a curse here. 87% plus 15 means that she will attack before most bosses in the game. If she heals on turn 1, she will heal before the enemy even does damage. So you are losing 2 LP and not healing. If you don't have any other healer specialist like Mirza or Leon, you may have a problem with that. And that's why I was saying that it's better to open probably with Paean of Victory. So you start with Paean of Victory and then on the next turn you use Shining Glory. Or if you don't have Paean of Victory, you should start with a normal attack even for UDX Matriarch to save VP, and also so that she can heal on turn 2 after the boss dealt some damage. That makes much more sense. And if you are in a short fight, you'll probably be using Shining Glory on turn 2 and on turn 3, and then preparing to do damage on turn 4 and 5, or just returning to Paean of Victory if you have that by inheritance. Also, if you are planning on doing this, you may save your better attacks, your nuke attacks, for turn 3 onwards with your other party members. That will give you a bigger damage since they will be stacked with their status buffs, and eventually you'll be able to finish a boss fight faster. Just save your BP to also use a nuke on overdrive. I think that many boss fights can be finished by that. And because this version of Matriarch is essentially better than the first one, after you use the Shining Glory, you can decide to just keep using damage or just buffing again with Paean of Victory. And she also gives 5% more damage to the squad if everyone is alive, reduces damage by at least 5% as well. She also has the chance to recover to, well, decrease the chance of needing heal. Well, this Matriarch is insane, it gives a lot of value, but essentially she's still not better than the first one. It also just says how much overpowered the first one was, because Paean of Victory being stacked still allows for many cheesy strategies. Evasion strategy is still one of the best ways to clear content in the game, even though it is a little cheesy. If you don't mind about it, well, it's still the most value you can get from a character, since evasion allows you to win easily. But after that, if you just want to get your Matriarch better, because this one has the better status and everything else, you can just get the style. There is other future styles of Matriarch as well, but they don't have Shining Glory. They are very different. In the last version of her in JP, we'll also be able to get Shining Glory twice, one after another. Let me show you. So here we have the 4 different styles in JP of Matriarch. This is the third one that comes later, and this is the fourth one. The third one can buff the defensive status, like Dexterity, Will, Love, and Charisma. It's a very strange combination, doesn't beat the first one. But then the fourth version of Matriarch will give you an access to this passive called Immortal, that starts with plus 2 BP on a fight, allowing her to use Shining Glory twice in a row, from turn 1 and turn 2. This is more for the damage, because like I said, there's a problem with Shining Glory not healing anyone by going sooner before the enemy attacks. But for farming stages and even Conquest, where sometimes you have 2 waves, using this skill would be very nice. Remember, it's 8 damage and you can use it twice. But it's still pretty far. I'm just showing up that this will be a thing. So in the end, my opinion of this UDX Matriarch is that she is one of the best styles in the game right now. Although you don't need the first Matriarch, having access to Payoff Victory makes her the best character in a tier list. Because we already have the first Matriarch on the top, now she just gets better by inheritance. But if you don't have the first one, she decreases a lot in utility because she's a little more restricted. What can you do without Payoff Victory? You have to prepare yourself better, like I said, using Shining Glory on turn 2, and then, well, using someone to complement, or just trying to focus on a full offensive squad. You can make use also of Global X Final Impress to make up for less buffs, but she's not as strong as the first one. The first one's still the most important character in the game for boss fights. Even when evasion strategies disappear, she still stacks damage. Especially martial arts, she gives STR and agility. Even if you're not evading, you're still dishing out a lot of damage, and that means a lot in this game. We don't have many buffers. I think they are even a little afraid of releasing many buffers in the game because they can break, but they would need to design new bosses that can remove your buffs or just keep buffing themselves as well so that you don't win easily. So in the end, if you have the first Matriarch with Payoff Victory, this is essentially the best style in the game with the use of inheritance. If you don't, I think she offers similar value to, well, Global X Final Impress. I think that Global X Final Impress may be even better. Also, she can be compared a little to Leon, but Leon is still better. I think that she's the next best thing after those. She offers a lot of damage, she offers heal, although not much, she offers buffs, but she can only buff twice. After that, she is not perfect anymore, unless you have access to Payoff Victory. So if you don't have the first one, it's still a good idea to have this, but the problem is the price. 45,000 gems for only one limited style if you are not lucky. And when she returns, she also returns alongside other UDXs. So it will always be a problem to summon for her. You are either lucky to get her sooner, or you may just waste a lot of gems. And is she worth 45,000 gems? I don't know, maybe. Because if you are using Matriarch, it just guarantees that she becomes even better. But if you're not, well, think well, there are some other banners that offer sometimes 4 limited styles and you get more with your gems. But it's up to you, you should decide if she adds enough to your party. So now it's time to talk about the other characters. We talked too much about Matriarch, but I don't know you guys are here because of her. And now it's time to talk about Paulus, the Platinum style that you can acquire here. It is so funny because he has better status overall against his limited one. Higher STR, same endurance, higher dexterity, pretty high, higher agility, higher intelligence, and a lower will. That's the only thing that he loses in lower love, but he does not use love at all, so he's only losing on will. Very funny how a Platinum style has so much status. And when we compare him, this one has a focus on dexterity and STR. He would never miss a target. And then there is the limited one that had a focus on agility, but still with this, he would not surpass the Platinum 1 agility, because it has a higher modifier. Well, for abilities we have Draining Attack 4, so 25% chance of healing. Healing a good amount, should be around 600. Then the second passive is the thing that makes him different. He has Battle Going. When he's directly attacked, he has a high chance to counter with Gong Ringer Plus. High chance is 40%. 40% chance to counter with Gong Ringer Plus. Guys, Gong Ringer Plus is a triple S attack with 60 modifier. This is a very powerful attack for 9 BP when you use this. The problem is that when using this as a passive, it only uses rank 1. So you are losing a lot of damage potential, but it's still pretty massive for someone that has a 40% chance of countering. He can be used in the place of Cotton for those that missed Cotton, for example. Cotton has a guarantee of healing back, but this one has a 25% chance. Still, the damage output here is even higher than Cotton. Then the last one is Ferdinand 5, so we have a 20% increase in damage at all times. This is the only damage passive. For 100% STR, you are not missing too much. The damage should be good enough when using Gong Ringer as a counter attack. Well, for our skills, we have Upheave. The first one is actually okay. It's 25 modifier for 4 BP, that's good enough. But it has delay, so it's also good for farming when you don't want to attack on turn 1. He has very good agility, remember? Then he has White Stamp. It's a 7 BP AoE attack. It's pretty good because the first style of him lacked that. He has White Hammer, as you can see here, but he does not have This one here doesn't have an opener for AoE. So now we have 7 plus 4 plus 4. It's enough to attack 3 times in a row with AoE. And for the last skill, we have Gunringer Plus with triple S damage, 60 modifier. This is not as strong as the nuke from Tatiana or even Summer Elizabeth, but it's good enough. It's similar to Stone Plus with the other characters that can have access to that, those that use martial arts. Sadly, it's strange to have a follow-up to that. You can use Upheave as the second turn attack, but the third turn you will not have enough BP, so you should use him only for 2 cycles in 3 turns. Or maybe if you're farming an event with only 2 waves, he still attacks good enough, but a third turn is a problem for him. So he's actually good for those that miss some premium blunt damage dealers, especially because he does have access to good AoE and single target. He does have some applications with his counter chance with Gunringer as well, especially against single target bosses. You'll probably have to use the Tiger's formation in the front so that he gets more attack. It does not have down chance, so you have to depend on the formation to give you the chances of being attacked. So is he good enough? Well, he is. You should invest on him if you're lacking blunt damage, but is he worth a pity on this banner? No. Even if you are, well, on step number 13 and you got your UDX Matriarch, I suggest you to stop. 6,000 gems can give you a limited style in the future. Stop here. He's good, but he can be skipped. And now for the last one, that is Ferdinand. Ferdinand is not bad, it's just that he kind of relies on having the limited style to be on full potential. He himself is not that good in my opinion. But he does have a triple S opener, we'll be discussing this. He does have high STR with 97, as you can see they both do slash and pierce damage. The limited one is still the best one, even though the status are lower. But the Platinum has a higher endurance, so a lower dexterity. 62 dexterity is, well, very low for current standards. 85 agility, that's pretty massive. Well, for a slash attacker or pierce attacker, it's very good. Intelligence doesn't matter, his will is lower. He does have, well, average love and charm. When we give a look on him, the first thing that makes appeal is battle tension. This one recovers 1 BP on start of a fight and also increases damage by 15%. That is important. Why? Because we can just simply inherit a skill from his past style, and this skill is called Starry Rush. But that is only if you have the style, because it was limited. I don't have this one. And this attack here is very powerful. It's the reason why we use this version of Ferdinand. It attacks between 2 to 4 times with slash and pierce damage. If you hit 4 times, this is insanely powerful. It's just like having almost a 4 asses damage with just that, especially with the future weapon upgrades, just makes Starry Rush even stronger. Starry Rush with 7 BP cost could not be used twice in a row, but now it can because of this version of him. But this is only for wave clearing in my opinion, since he lacks the chance to get more STR by attacking. The limited style has STR surge, so every time that he attacks a weak target, he gets a buff. Well, it triggers only once on Starry Rush, but that's still good enough so that he can keep getting stronger. He also has an attack that buffs STR, and this attack is free. It's 0 BP, so in long fights this guy here is still the best. But if you are farming Conquest or some type of event that you only have to attack twice, using Starry Rush with this one is now a good thing. Not only Starry Rush, but he's now able to use this attack called Star X, that is a triple S attack. As you can see, slash and pierce, that's very strong as well, but reduces his own STR, so he attacks and after that he's bad. So it's not good for boss fights. So, besides battle tension, he does have this slashing decree. That's actually very bad right now because it has a chance to buff this squad for slash damage. Chance is not something that we want right now. And then we have weak point focus 4, so 20% increase in damage when attacking weak targets. So 35 on total, yes, when attacking weak targets. And then, as you can see, he at least has War Cry attack that can also increase his own STR, but this one is stronger than the limited one, but I don't think it's better since it uses 4 BP. Still okay for Platinum standards. And there is a row attack that you will hardly use, at least you can attack twice in a row with this. Depending on the situations, it can be good. But Star Axe is funny, since it's only used for a wave that you are clearing. If you're not clearing a wave, you are decreasing your own STR and you have to recover, and the BP cycles here are terrible. So is this guy good enough? Well, for Platinum, for people that are starting the game, for some specific scenarios, if you are lacking Triple S nuke on start, because Star X is still slashing Pierce, it can be worth to be used in, well, Deadly Pierce or Dragon Strike for Spear users. He is essentially easy to use with Spear users since he can use Dragon Strike with them. And essentially for farming, this guy is terrible for boss fights in my opinion, unless you can clear a boss in one turn. So again, is this guy bad? No. Just that we have a lot of competition, way better characters than him, but he can still be serviceable if you are missing Slash or Pierce, and if you are a new player. But I still don't recommend pulling for him, or if you are close to a PD, and if you already got UDX Matriarch, save your gems, don't go for this guy here. You still have a better chance of getting good styles, limited styles in the future, even with 3,000 gems or 6,000 gems, we have better banners. Don't pity this guy, don't pity Paulus, go after Matriarch. So let me go back here and let me explain this again. Do you feel like this Matriarch will help you? This character is massive, it's very strong, we cannot say that she's not on the top tiers. The problem is that she sometimes will clash with her first style. If you are using the first style just for buff, and you have other healers, you don't really need this Matriarch. You can, well, survive without having her. It's a very huge risk to summon this banner only for one limited style. But I did this before, I did it with Darkia. It's just that Darkia was a specific new character to play. Matriarch is probably adding more utility to those that have the first one, and for those that don't have the first one, they can still wait for the first one to appear again. That will probably happen. It's still on this month, since that's what we saw from Square Enix livestream. So is this a bad banner? Actually, it's a bad banner with a very good character. That is my opinion. What's yours? Please say here in the comment section, I want to hear. And also good luck if you're planning to summon. We'll be live streaming this game as soon as we get to reset time. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you want to support the channel, there are links in the description. And don't forget to subscribe. We'll see each other on the next video. Bye.